Hi, I'm Jeff Matt, owner of Victory Auto Service and Glass in Minnesota. We've got 4 locations around the Twin Cities area. I'm an ASE certified master technician, and today I'm going to show you how easy it is to change your spare tire on your vehicle. First of all, you want to start out with identifying in your owner's manual laid out procedures. If you really care about looking at specifically how to do this, this is the best reference. There's an index in the back. You'd find tire repair and follow the directions. It's pretty simple. They actually have pictures. Today, for you visual learners, I'm going to show you how to do it without the book. The only thing I would suggest you maybe have is a blanket that you'd keep in your car. In Minnesota, that's very helpful for a lot of different reasons. And you'll find out how helpful this is when you get down to actually being on the ground and changing your tire. Your car manufacturer really has everything in place for you to change your tire. The challenge sometimes can be finding out where your spare tire is, and that's why I referenced the owner's manual. In this Nissan, it's tucked under the back like it is in most vehicles. I'm going to show you where that's at. We just gain access to it by looking underneath the covers. And this vehicle makes it really simple. I can take this stuff out of the way, which will help in me showing you how to do this. Set the stuff out of the way. The spare tire is going to always be secured by some form of a wing nut. I've already taken this one off in advance to make it go by a little bit faster. So we've taken that off. It also has a speaker that's in the way. You set that off to the side. And right underneath there is this vehicle spare tire. You see it's not the exact same tire that's on the car. It's a compact. It's designed to work just fine for the amount of time that you're going to need to use the tire. Operating on the freeways, everything is not a problem. Also, you're going to find in here is a jack and a lug wrench to take your wheel off. So we're going to get this set up and show you what you need to take your wheel off. So before we even start jacking up the vehicle, there's 2 things that are very important that you need to know before you even consider changing your spare tire. First of all, your vehicle needs to be on a level ground. If there's any kind of an incline, you don't want to jack up your vehicle because there's a risk of it coming off the jacks. The second thing is you need to have a firm foundation for your jack to sit against. So if you're in soft ground, muddy ground, sandy ground, you probably shouldn't lift up your vehicle because there's a chance again that it could sink into the ground and put you in a really unsafe situation. This is where the blanket comes in handy. We'll put the blanket down on the ground and you're going to be kneeling down on the blanket. So this is the jack that the manufacturers provided us. It doesn't look like a jack probably to most people, but it has a little washer on the end that when you twist, it's a scissors lift and it actually lifts up like this. One thing I want you to note is on the top of this, there's a slot. That slot's going to line up with another piece of steel on your vehicle and it's going to give it a safe spot for it to lift the vehicle up. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the left rear off of this vehicle, left rear tire off this vehicle, and we're going to get this in place. And when you get down here on your knees and you look, you'll be able to identify a spot where that little slot lines up. And as we raise this up and just twist it with our hands, pretty much every vehicle has this same kind of a jack on it. So it's not going to be too complicated. This system works really well with every kind of car, light truck. If you actually have a big pickup truck, there'll probably be a little bit different spot that you're going to want to lift the vehicle up on. But again, your owner's manual is going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So we're going to get this in place and secure. And before I actually lift the tire up off the ground, the next thing that we need to do is we need to take those lug nuts and break them loose. We need to do that while the car is on the ground so that it makes it really easy for us to break them loose. So what we do is, one of the tools, again, that's provided is this lug wrench. It's a 6-sided wrench that lines up with the lug nuts on your vehicle. And we're going to put that in place into a spot where you can actually break it loose with your foot. One thing to remember is you want to turn to the left to loosen it, lefty-loosey, and turn to the right to tighten it. So you want to get the lug wrench in a spot that's pretty much parallel with the ground, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my foot and the weight of my weight to break this lug nut loose. So you get the lug fully engaged into the lug nut, and you see how easy that was to break it loose. We're going to do that on this vehicle has 5 lug nuts. We're going to do that on all 5. Break them loose. Some you're going to find are tight, which is good. But for the most part, you shouldn't have any problem. Even smallest person should be able to get those lug nuts loose. The next step we're going to do is actually get the wheel up off the ground, and then give us a handle to help us turn this little washer on the end, because it can get really tough as the weight of the vehicle is fighting against your pressure to lift it. So what we're going to do is just keep spinning this. There's just different ways you can do it. As long as it turns, you'll quickly have that wheel up off the ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the car up off the ground. We're going to take the rest of the lug nuts off, and we're going to come back and show you how to get that spare tire on there. So we've got all the lug nuts off. We've got the car all the way up, of course, and we're going to take the tire off the vehicle, which we didn't lift it that far up off the ground anyways, so just a little bit of a wiggle motion that comes right off. We're going to take this back to the back of the vehicle and grab our spare out of the spot where we found it. You can just easily put your old tire back in the same exact spot, put everything back together. It fits in there just perfectly. As you look at the spare tire, I might think it makes sense it only goes on one way, but you should probably take a close look at it, because if you put it on the wrong way, it probably will cause you some problems. So this is concave in on the inside, it's kind of cupped in on the inside and sticking out on the outside. Of course, the valve stem would also be a good indicator. You want to make sure the valve stem is sticking out. So that might be the easiest way to remember. Just make sure the valve stem is sticking out. We've got 5 holes that we want to line up with these 5 studs. So to do that, we're just going to kind of put it in place. The tire isn't really that heavy to get it in place. We want to get our lug nuts all started here. Once you get all 5 of these on, I would suggest that you get them all on with your tool pretty much as tight as you can get them. As you can see, the tire spins. So we're going to get these all tightened down, hand tight. And then the next step is we're going to lower the vehicle down just a little bit so that the tire will not spin, and that'll allow us to really get the lug nuts tight enough and tight enough for you to drive it. So we'll get this tightened up, lower it back down, and we'll be right back. So we've got our lug nuts all on hand tight. I've lowered this jack down just a little bit, just enough to actually, so the wheel doesn't spin by itself. Now what you want to do is you want to go around each one of these lug nuts with your lug wrench and actually do what you did when you took them off. Just a good quarter to a half turn on each one of them, just to make sure that they're tight. And then you'll be able to drive it. Get them all? I think I got them all. All right. The next thing you're going to do then is just take your jack and lower it down the rest of the way. You can see I can do it by hand now. You'll be able to just stow this away. One important thing I probably should have mentioned on the front end is that before you start working on your car, especially alongside the road, because that's probably where you're going to be if you have a flat tire, is make sure you have your hazard flashers on while you're servicing the vehicle. Obviously your safety is very important. So we've gone through all the procedures on how you can change your tire. Hopefully you think it's as easy as it actually is.